Well, welcome again, Kelly, or Legal Tuesday, and to the awesome information that you always provide for us, to our veteran, military and veteran community. Very thankful for your time and your knowledge, for you to share how you navigate the legal system and what's keeping businesses in the right path, and most importantly, avoiding all the blind spots that we always have in business. And there's so many laws out there, always changing. So for a business owner, it will be impossible to kind of know the different changes. So we rely on awesome people like you to kind of tell us how to prevent those and how to quickly solve any issues. But before we get started, I would like to kind of tell us a little bit who you are again, what you do, and then provide us with a disclaimers. I know that's important for our show.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure, Joe, to be on Legal Tuesdays with you always. I am a business attorney. I've been practicing for 17 years now. And my whole practice is supporting entrepreneurs that want to start their businesses, that want to grow their businesses, and eventually who want to sell their businesses for millions, right? That's always the goal.
That's always their dream.
Always the goal. I have so many resources for entrepreneurs. I have a book. It's called Go Legal Yourself. You can buy it on Amazon. It's going to be the best $20 you've ever spent. It becomes a Bible, literally. And I also have a monthly newsletter that I send out to my subscribers. And all you have to do is to go to bagalalaw.com and
Mhm.
subscribe to be on the newsletter list. Great information. And again, knowledge is power, right, Joe? So as
Absolutely.
a brand new business owner or someone that's trying to grow their business, you definitely want to sidestep the legal pitfalls. And the book and everything that I do is helping entrepreneurs to become more successful business owners.
Right.
Yes. And any information that we share today on Legal Tuesdays, it does not create a attorney client relationship with anyone. It's just for general purposes only.
Of course. So it's just like you say always, it's just for educational purposes and provide information.
Yes.
And I know books are important, and I love your book, and also I receive your newsletters. But I think once someone meets with you and has a conversation with you, like I did, and they will be basically sold with the amazing approach that you have when you're dealing with legal issues, and how you break it down in a way that is easy to grasp, easy to solve, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so thank you for that. Really appreciate it. So I'm
Thank
a
you.
life testament of your of your great skill.
Thank you so much, Joe. I've always, because I'm not just a business attorney, right? I'm actually a business owner as well, and I have
That's
several
true.
other businesses. So it really takes a business owner to understand the needs of another business owner. So that's how I approach every relationship.
Yes, and you're totally right. Yeah, you are a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you're also an inventor, which maybe sometime we'll talk about that.
Yes.
So yes, you wear so many hats. Even you're not wearing any right now, but you wear so many hats. So yeah, so thank you. And today we decided to discuss the term, which is very useful for new businesses and people who are launching the new companies. And with the companies comes content, comes logos, come images. So we wanted to discuss about trademark. And I know it's a lot of myths about trademark, what you can and cannot do. So to clarify that terminology, we would like to start with the basics. What's a trademark?
A trademark is defined, and again, the trademarks fall under the United States Patent and Trademark Office. That's the governing body that's going to issue you a final yes or no on the trademark. A trademark can be a symbol, it can be a logo, a letter, it can be um, it can be color, it can be a word. So any of this that actually describes what your business does, right? So that's what a trademark really is. It's how it describes what your business does.
Mhm.
So, for example, a trademark of Coca-Cola, they trademarked this a very long time ago. And right now, that trademark, the registered mark, it's priceless. Same thing with Mercedes, same thing with Apple computers, right? They're all trademarked logos, but they're worth, it's probably one of their company's biggest asset is the actual rights to that name. So this is how powerful trademarking your logo or your brand can be for your business.
Absolutely, yes. And I think that's the goal of every business to be identified without words. I noticed that on like Starbucks. I mean, you just see the logo and you know Starbucks. You don't have to read that it's a Starbucks. So yes, I think the image is so important. So it identifies and connects consumers or customers with that particular business. Now, there is a trademark and there is also a service mark. What's the difference?
Okay. A trademark can be used for, again, the trade that you're in. So, for example, I'm also known as the Queen of Business Law. Okay.
Correct.
And the Queen of Business Law is a registered trademark. It's the trade that I'm in, business law. I'm claiming I'm the queen of it, and it's trade. Now, for a service mark, if I was going to provide a service, for example, my law firm, Bagala Law Firm, provides a service. So that would be a service mark rather than a trademark.
Got it. So, like for example, university, their logo is really a service mark rather than a trademark. Correct?
Well, with universities, they're in the business of teaching children, right? They're in the business of teaching and providing them with a degree at the end of the 3 years or 4 years. And so that would be a trade. They're in the business of providing education to the children that they can walk away with a degree. That's a trade. So that would be a trademark.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Good clarification.
Yes.
So, and I know, and when we start a business, and I know each, and we'll talk about the registration process in a minute, but every time we come up with a new logo, a new idea, a new concept, especially as new entrepreneurs, um, uh, those logos, those concepts are trademark of that particular business. But in which instances can someone use or has the right to use that trademark because they created it without having to register it? We'll start with that.
Okay. If I go back to the basics, number one reason why any business would want a trademark for their name or for a product that they sell or for their logo is to stand out, right? Because we live in a saturated world and there's so many products being thrown at you left, right, and center. It's like, which one is the better one? Which one do I buy? And most likely people are going to gravitate towards the ones that they recognize. Like you just said, you recognize a symbol. And that is a trademark. That symbol itself that you recognize is a trademark. Now, when someone creates, let's say, a logo for their business name, then they should start using the little TM on that name. Anytime they use the name, it could be on a website, it could be in print written material, it could be in an invoice. Anytime they're using that logo, they have to use the TM. Basically, the TM, by using the TM, they're telling the world that they're claiming common right law to it. They're claiming rights to it under common law by using the TM.
Okay.
And there was another part
yes,
to that
so,
question.
No,
sorry.
that's correct. No, that's fine because that's a very clarifying question because there's always when I have clients come in and say, well, when can I use this? And so I'm glad you clarified that because then basically if I create something and I'm the original owner or creator of that, then by using the TM, basically the TM is my little flag that says I created this. I'm claiming ownership of this idea, this concept, this process. And then, so if then the next step is because every logo registration costs money. The next step is, do I want to register that so that becomes a registered trademark? And so what's the difference between using the TM and using the R?
Okay. The way the trademark law works is it's not the first person to start using a mark. It's the first person that files the mark and actually gets a registered mark. So, for example, I loved your little analogy about, you're waving the flag, right? Hey, I'm claiming rights to it. I can see
Right.
the little figure
Yeah, it is actually.
waving the little flag, right? So, absolutely, as the creator of a logo, you are claiming rights to it. That's where you use the TM. But if somebody else saw your logo and it just says TM on it, and they went out and they loved the name and they went out and actually filed for registration on that name, and there was no challenges to that name, then they would end up getting a registered mark, which means that they would have to present to the world, instead of the TM, now they can present a R in a circle. That's a registered mark.
Okay.
Now, all of a sudden, you as the business owner see this other mark and say, well, hey, that's mine. That I'm the one that created that. The USPTO office and the law does not care about whether you created that right from the beginning and you're the owner of it. All they care about who is the legal owner of that. And that's the one that filed with the USPTO and actually got the registered mark. They're the ones that are now become the owners of that mark. The crazy thing is, Joe, that now this new person that has just gone out and secured your name, they own it. They can send you a cease and desist from stop using the logo. In fact, I'm dealing with this right now. There's a client of mine. We secured their very, very prominent name for them. I won't disclose what the name is.
Of course.
And it came to my client's attention that there was another company, a larger company, that was using the mark since 2015. Well, there was negotiations going back and forth, and the company said, well, we've been using it for 2015, since 2015. That's even before you filed for registration. So we have every right to use it. They couldn't be mistaken. I highly recommended them to seek legal counsel because they are infringing upon my client's registered trademark, and that will happen.
Okay. So let me see if I understand this correctly, because there is a, balance here on, do I spend the money and go through the process and register it, or do I just say, hey, this is my flag, don't touch it? So that's kind of the balancing act. So by creating the content, by creating the logo, the image, and saying I'm claiming this to be owned by me, but unless I register that trademark, I have ownership as long as other people respect it. But if someone jumps on it and registers that trademark, then I have to basically stop using it if they request it, basically.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Remember, it's always first to register. It's not first to use.
Okay. So,
and since the logo as well, because again, it all goes back to branding, right? What is it that you want the world to see your products as? Do you want it to be, a beautiful brand? What is it that you're trying to sell to the world? If it's branding, then I would highly recommend that you start thinking about actually filing for a registered trademark for that logo, because it becomes an asset of the company and it's worth a lot of money, because now it's going to start building up goodwill. Right. And it's also going to start building up recognition. All of that comes into play when you're going to sell the company, right? Sometimes the name is worth more than the assets of the company, and if you don't secure the name, then you literally are doing yourself a disservice.
Correct. I agree. So, what would your advice be, or suggestion be, for a company who has their main logo, but they also have multiple services that they also provide? Would they need to register each and every single one of those logos, or what would be your advice on that part?
I think that might be a case by case, Joe, just because what is it that you're trying to advertise? Is it the larger company that does all of these services, or is it just this one little service within the larger company, right? So it really does depend. And again, you can, there's nothing that limits you from holding hundreds of registered trademarks. You know, I personally probably hold at least 5 registered trademarks.
Okay. So
At
there's
least
no
5.
limit.
There's no limit on how many you can file for. There's no limit whatsoever. And if you think that this is going to be a marketing tool for you, then absolutely, you know, the advice would be to register the mark so you can start advertising it.
Okay, very good. So now let's go into the nitty-gritty side of it. Now that we understand the pros and cons of that, and what is the process to register a trademark?
Okay. Usually when I'm hired by clients to file a registered trademark for them, they have to have at least some information, right? The first thing is they need to understand whether they're going to claim any colors to the logo. So for example, the veterans logo there is blue and yellow with white stars. My Queen of Business Law logo is red and black. Right? Those are my brand colors. So I'm going to claim color because those I know for a fact I'm not going to change them down the line. And if you're not going to change them, then, you know, you claim that color. But if someone wants to say, well, maybe we want this logo in several different colors, then they have to supply a black and white logo, which means that you can change the color for your logo at any time, at any point. So you're claiming all colors. Okay, so figure out whether you want to claim one color or just leave it open and create a black and white logo. The other thing is you have to have dates as far as when was the first time you created the logo, right? And then when was the first time you actually used it in commerce? You can actually email someone with your logo in your email. That's you using it in commerce, right? So those dates have to be prominent. And then you also want to know, well, who's going to own the logo? Who is it? Is it you as an individual, or is it going to be your company that's going to own the logo, right? And more often than not, it's always usually the company because it is a company asset. So the company would own the logo. And then you have to have sort of like a marketing brochure, something that shows the USPTO how are you going to use this mark, right? So for example, if mine was Queen of Business Law and is providing legal services or consulting, something like that, then I would have a brochure that had the logo on it plus what the services were. And that can be either in color or it can be black and white, but it's got to be some sort of marketing brochure. I've had questions. Can I use my website? You know, the logo's on my website. Can I do a snapshot of that and use that? No, you cannot. It's got to be some sort of marketing piece, a postcard, a flyer, something that shows how you're using the logo. And the logo has to be exactly the same as the name that you're using on the brochure, exactly the same as your logo, right? You can't say, okay, well, my logo is an eagle with 3 stars, but here I'm going to put a eagle with 5 stars. That's not matching. They have to be identical.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So,
and then then we do the filing with the USPTO. There are filing fees that are involved. You can actually pick a category of which industry you want to provide your services in. So for example, if it's for clothing, then you pick the clothing category. But for each category, there is a separate filing fee for that. And the process usually takes about 6 months to 8 months, depending on how complex or how involved the mark is. And then always, Joe, I always get an officer come back to me with further questions, a USPTO officer, and everything that I do, my communications with the officer, it's all included in the flat rate. So that way, you know, clients, they know exactly what they're getting from at the beginning. I'm going to file your registered trademark. We'll try to get you a registered trademark at the end of the 6 to 8 months.
Okay. So it is not a overnight, over the weekend process.
No, it's not. Definitely not. Yes.
And you mentioned something about So that's the changes. And then what if the logo, has modifications, like you're saying, colors, or has modification adding things to it? Is that an infringement to your own brand, or is it part of it?
If there are minor changes to the registered logo,
Hmm.
that's okay. But if you completely revamp it and still keep the name, but create a completely different logo. So for example, you have Veterans Chamber of Commerce, in a circle, and now you want to put it in a triangle. That's a big change. And then we would have to file for another um, trademark for
Okay.
that change. So
And
big
okay.
changes you have to redo.
So big changes, yes. Minor changes, maybe.
Right.
Okay. And every change someone makes on their logo is a separate registration, or is under the same registration?
No, it would be a separate.
Separate registration.
Yes, which
So
means
someone,
separate filing fees.
so when you see companies like, just using one, like Coca-Cola, or those that they have so many variations of logos, one word, two words, split and stuff, all those have to be individually, separately registered.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this could be, as a business owner, a got to think process, because every step you take will take you a certain amount of dollars, cash, to make this work. So what's the average charge to register a trademark?
The filing fee that there used to be 225 and now they've gone up. So I believe it is either it's 250 or 275 to
Okay.
file with the USPTO, and that filing fee is non-refundable.
Of course it's not. Of
Whether you
course
end
not.
up getting the mark or not, it's non-refundable.
But you do get a big thank you note, right?
Right.
For you.
No.
No? Okay.
I know you don't even get that, Joe. No. So it's really, really important to at least do your due diligence
Mhm.
before you actually spend the money to file, because you do have to do at least a basic search, right? Whether the name's
Right.
already taken, are there any variations? Don't forget the variations of the name too, to do the search. And then definitely see if you've got the name, try to get the domain name as well, because now you're collecting assets, right, for the
Right.
company. So
Right.
you don't want, uh, say for example, my logo is Bagala Law Firm or Bagala Law. I don't want someone else to take Bagala Law Firm. Then I'm just left with B Law Firm. That doesn't go very well with branding, right? So make sure that the domain name is available too.
Okay. Well, all these are very interesting topics, and I'm sure there is more to it. So if someone's interested and has questions about this particular subject, what are the best ways for them to get in touch with you?
Oh, they can absolutely call me. My direct line, I'm going to give everybody my cell phone now, Joe.
Oh,
Right. So, because
okay.
everyone needs an attorney on speed dial, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I know. So, my direct line is 760-525-4540. Or they can simply Google baglalaw.com, BAGLALAW.com, and you have all my information there. Or you can simply just email me, kelly@baglalaw.com. And the easiest way is to reach out to Joe and he'll put you in contact with me.
Absolutely, yes. We do have you on speed dial and actually on our website, so people can just directly ask the questions. And two of the questions that we had today came from the website. So yeah, people continuously ask questions, and so we're really, again, thankful and grateful for your time and your dedication to our Legal Tuesday, and for the awesome clarification of terms. You make it sound very clear. Legal terms are never simple, but very clear for us to understand and to avoid those blind, what I call them, blind spots, because they always come around. Doesn't
Always.
matter who you are and what your passion or they always come around. So again, thank you, Kelly. And
It's always my pleasure, Joe. Thank you so much for having me. And I just absolutely love what I do. And so if I can share that with our veteran community, that we absolutely love anytime.
excellent. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
I'll see you there.
All right.